Hey everybody, welcome to Agents After Hours, a podcast focused on agents talking about everything that's relevant to their business, their clients, etc. on an after hours basis. We're here talking to you after a long day's work to talk about what's going on in the marketplace, what's going on in a focus of what is best and important to you. Basically, just everything we speak about on a daily basis that we find is most valuable to people trying to figure out what to do next. So today we're going to talk about some very key subjects in our business of the question we're getting most often, which is specifically, in a general sense, what is going on in the marketplace? So I've got some questions written down that we're going to ask each of us, get a conversation going. We hope you enjoy it. And we'll start with Tom. All right. So I'm sorry, my co-host today, and always, Tom Kadar, and my other partner, Luis Anaya. And we're going to talk about some stuff. Okay, Tom.
Yes, sir.
What do you think will happen in the next 12 months in real estate and the economy?
Okay.
No, just all of it.
Start with the small topics. Let's start with the really, really small
All right, wait.
topics.
Sorry about
Okay.
that. What's your middle name?
I don't know if I can handle that.
All right, let's go back to the economy one.
No.
All right. What do you think will happen in the next 12 months in real estate and the economy?
All right, so we're here starting August here and
Document the date.
2023. I mean, interest
Oh, I'm sorry.
rates.
August 1st.
2023.
2023. Yeah, okay.
We can agree on that.
We don't agree on a lot.
All right, so what do we got here? We got interest rates at 7.5, closing in on 8%.
God, is that for conforming 30?
Yep.
Oh,
We've got
That's
record
rough.
level low inventory.
Yep.
Insanely low.
We've got a lot of buyers with cash saved up from the COVID times.
Yep.
Everyone's got a lot of cash in their pocket, and I mean, Red knows it. I know he's got a few listings out there that have 20, 30 offers on them. So
Yep.
I mean, the market's nuts. It's a very weird time.
So 12 months?
It's a very weird time. In 12 months, I mean, I still see the Fed raising the interest rates at least one or two
One
more
more time.
times. So that puts us into somewhere in middle of next year before kind of that tapers off and starts kind of going lower. But I mean, who cares, right? I mean, we still have prices are still going higher, markets still kind of going up, at least here in Orange County, as far as residential is concerned.
So what about the economy?
I mean, job reports are strong. People are still buying stuff. I don't see any break in the economy here. I mean, again, I'm just focusing on Southern California. If we
Sure.
want to talk California, if we want to talk the U.S. And
I don't know. I
those are
think we should
different.
probably focus on. So sorry, guys. We're in Southern California, Orange County, California. So we kind of focus on that. But I think more in the sense of, okay, let me ask you a different way. Do you see the economic factors facing the United States of America influencing the real estate of Southern California?
The general economic factors of the entire U.S.
Yep.
affecting. I
Yep.
mean, no, I think the Orange County bubble holds here pretty well. I think we've got, like I said, the low inventory, and just keeps pushing the market up and up.
Okay.
That's my take.
I'm going to come back.
If you want to talk commercial real estate,
I would happy to talk to you about anything real estate related that you have to speak about. So yes, go ahead. Talk about commercial now.
All right, let's talk a little commercial.
that's
So
a good one.
as opposed to residential, commercial we can break down into maybe 5 different categories.
Go ahead.
You got the first one that I'll hit is probably the one that's going to get hit the hardest, and that's office.
Yep.
Office product. There's office buildings everywhere you look around here.
Aside from our office.
Aside from our office, but yeah, that's a good distinction because we're in a one level kind of very cool building. These are still in demand. I mean, I would even call this an industrial flex.
Yeah, that's what
Yep.
I was gonna say.
Yep.
It's an industrial flex space.
But if you're looking at office, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 story kind of office buildings,
Ooh.
those are 50, 60, 70% vacant right now.
I know.
That's
crazy.
nuts. That's absolutely nuts. You're going to have, and all these guys are on loans that sometimes reset in, let's say,
10
3,
years.
4, 5, 10 years, and they're going to reset to an interest rate at 7.5 or 8%. When they were looking at something around 3 before, they're completely.
Well, so how do
empty.
they adjust? How they
They're
contend
not
with
going to
that?
adjust.
What are they going to
They're
do?
not going to adjust. Either they got to shell out a crap ton of money,
Turn over the
or
keys.
they got to sell it at a very high discount. Or they have to convert. I mean, they're not going to do this. The owners aren't going to do this themselves, but they're going to convert to some different type of commercial real estate.
Segue. Didn't
Yeah.
Patrick but David talk about buying with his group office buildings at a considerable discount in Florida.
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
He did. Yeah, he's buying like $40 million buildings for like $12 million
Yeah,
in Florida.
I mean, it's very possible. I don't know that. I don't know this story, but if he is, then maybe he has room to convert it to multifamily, which is popular.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's like Long Beach. Like, remember, we had the industrial area. Long Beach had a bunch of. They go down there, like all the lofts were like. There's a giant loft building there. It was like for like New York style lofts, but in Long Beach, California, it's like industrial. Like that was a major port. All the major ports were industrial. Mm-hmm. So they was like during the steel area, the horse and buggy area, like all that stuff. There's a building that says such and such toy company on the side of it. Right. And now it's all lofts. But during the time, it was like, well, this is a giant building for X. It has no purpose anymore. I actually thought when we started going through COVID, like I wanted to start converting all the offices into living space.
I think that's a great idea. Obviously, you have to look at it from, is the office set up for that purpose? So, I mean, when you're looking at an office building, can you break those offices into separate living units? You have to keep in mind sewer, water, gas.
Sure. Yeah.
So it has to be set up for that. And then next to that, you have to talk about zoning. So, I mean, then is the city, county, state going to be harassing you saying, no, you can't do that here, even though they need housing? Yeah. Even though the housing is in short supply, they're still going to bother you and say no because of these reasons.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, yeah, we'll see. What about, okay, so that's 12 months in commercial. Is that all of it? You said office. Any other?
I started with office. I mean, the ones that are, I guess, second worst is going to be retail, I guess. Obviously, COVID changed a lot of things for retail. Amazon is still the big boy in the house. And then from there, I mean, you can go up the ladder. You've got multifamily and then industrial. Industrial super high in demand, obviously, because of, again, COVID, kind of that transition that we had. And then multifamily is going to be in some places in that same bucket with office buildings, because a lot of those guys who bought in the last 5 years, they typically have 5-year loans. The interest rates are going to reset at 7.5%, 8%, and rents and occupancy are still pretty good for them. But that 3% to 7.5% bump, that they're not going to make that. There's no way they're going to make that. There's going to be a lot of inventory that comes on the market.
Oh, so okay, let's talk about how will that increase of inventory affect pricing and value in the marketplace when today we're currently seeing a lack of inventory?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm doing very broad strokes here. Yep. I mean, if we're talking Southern California, even before, when the interest rates are low, you had to put down 30% down on a multifamily building to have it barely cash flow. I mean, right now it's probably 60-70% on what you're going to have to do. In markets like Texas and Florida, you could put down 20%, and that's what they did. And they didn't put on rent caps on a lot of these buildings. So when these buildings come due and they only have 20% equity in this building, and then all of a sudden their cash flow is is the same, and their expenses are double, triple what they are, those buildings will come back to the market. Inventory will be there. And you're going to see a little blood. Okay,
we're going to put a pin in that. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because we're going to go to Red, but then we're going to come back and talk full circle about each of these items. So, Red, same question. What do you think will happen in the next 12 months in real estate, in California, United States, whatever you want to talk about, and in the economy?
I think the same thing that happened during COVID is going to happen with buyers that purchased properties that were just in that frenzy, that got a great rate, got a great opportunity to buy a house. Now they're forced. There's golden handcuffs in a lot of people right now, in my personal opinion, where they're pinned into a property. They cannot transition out of it because if they sell, even with the amount of equity that they're going to put down on the next property with interest rates in today's market, they're going to pay more than what they're paying right now. Numbers just don't make sense to transition. And people are starting to see this is a crappy neighborhood. I don't like my neighbors. They're starting to analyze and dissect their properties. So when this market does transition back into somewhat of a normal market with rates being normal, I personally think we're going to see a flood of inventory come in where people are going to want to move. They're going to be ecstatic that they actually have freedom because right now they're being forced to stay in their properties, stay put. They can't do anything with it. They're seeing all this information of their neighbor's house selling for X, and I have so much equity. It's like pent up frustration. I don't know about you guys. Well, I know you're not having these conversations, but I talk to a lot of people in the residential real estate market where they're frustrated. They're like, dude, I want to remodel my kitchen, but I can't refi and cash out. I can't do a HELOC because interest rates are so high. Like, I have fictitious, insane amount of money and equity in my property. What do I do? What do I do? So I know that there's going to be a lot of moving parts when this market does actually transition back down. But even with right now, I mean, I still think it's a great opportunity. I'm trying to get another, like a property under my name just because of the equitable growth that's going to happen.
Nice. And anything on the economy?
Something has to reset. I mean, these numbers are just, it's starting to get to the point where it's eerily uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Seeing how
Uncomfortable.
But what's going to change? I mean, what's that factor? What's that thing that's going to change in the overall economy to make prices come down?
That's a good question. So
I think that's the $1 billion question right there. I mean, because what can possibly change? I mean, are banks going to shut off the lines of credit of people? So that
Well, more small banks are going to fail as the interest rates stay high.
but will the government let them fail?
It
So
seems they've shown that they will not, right?
Right.
So there's
well,
a lot of
but
banks
will and won't.
popping up.
There was a farmers bank in what I don't know, it was Wisconsin, Oklahoma. I'm sure where it was. They let that one go down, and would now let Santa Clara Bank go down.
Right.
They did let the farmers bank go down. So
There's
saying
two
they
more
will.
that happened just recently.
They're going down.
Yeah, 2 more that got actually gobbled up by another bigger bank.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they got.
So you're going to
bought.
see that a lot more.
Yep.
Bank of America, Wells Fargo, these guys are going to keep buying the smaller banks.
Yeah, that's tough. And then that becomes a thing about what was it, monopolization, and they have to go to the board.
I just got a call from a Bank of America rep and said exactly this. Hey, reach out to us. We know the smaller banks are failing. That means that means we can give you more favorable terms. And they wanted to have lunch with me. It was pretty funny.
Jeez,
Yeah. No, it's
what
insane.
where are you going for lunch? I mean,
Let me apply the
come with
wall.
me.
All right.
It's those conversations. I mean, because in reality, you're 100% correct. That question, it's a question that I consistently kind of go over in my head as I put deals together, as I'm about to list a couple residential leases in Orange where the tenants that we were able to get out of there were paying $1,100 a month, and we're going to reposition these properties at $3,900.
Yeah, $3,000 a month. Yeah.
So I lightly touched it on my platform, which I don't have a lot of followers, but lightly touched it out there at $2,900 a month for a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 860 square feet, 1 car garage.
Wow.
And it's up to you to find the second parking spot for your other car, but hey, it's up to you.
You got a lot of hits?
17
Wow.
hits on 2,950.
Yeah.
So I pushed the envelope up. I said 3,100, 17 hits, 3,200, 17 hits.
A little bidding
And I'm
war
like,
going. That's
dude,
nice.
at what price point do people say no? I mean,
Yeah.
and where is this influx of money coming? And if that stream were to end, because I mean, we're not oblivious to the economy. If it's economy of scales, right? If a business is hurting, you're going to look at your payroll and you're going to start seeing, where do I trim the fat?
Yeah.
What's my
Payroll.
biggest expense?
Yeah.
And there's so many. I think there's a lot of people that are just comfort in working from home that those jobs are going to go obsolete. I think they're going to start trimming those down. They're going to want a little bit more control. They're going to want to start trimming the fat and the higher expenses. So those people with so much disposable income, what are they going to do? Where are they going to go?
Yeah.
What's going to happen in regards to, and I think that's where we're going to start seeing the resets, where it can happen in the high rental areas, where I mean, geez, I know a couple places in downtown Santa Ana that are in downtown, literally above the 4th Street Market. Those are 474 square feet studios that are getting $3,800 a month.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Whoa, that
Yeah.
seems a little aggressive.
Airbnb.
That's funny because I mean
Oh.
I have a property management company in Riverside, and we have things are a little bit slowed down in there. So I think probably Orange is a better market. But yeah, in Riverside area, I mean, we're average renting time was about 30 days, but we're seeing it getting closer to 45 days.
Okay.
And I was assuming it was because some people were losing jobs. Obviously, the cost to move is expensive, so they're just staying put and wherever they are right now. So, but yeah, I guess.
But you also don't have an influx of people that are here. We're overcrowded.
Yeah.
I mean, Orange County in general is just bursting at the seams.
Well, it's
Yes.
high demand.
Not enough housing. Yep.
Not
Yeah.
enough housing, not enough. I mean, look at, all right, for instance, let's talk about downtown Santa Ana. I know it very, very well. Toll Brothers building, 240, 260 units.
Yeah.
I think the ones are going to start at $3,150.
That's
Okay,
stupid.
here's the crazy part: 240 to 260 units. They have a wait list of 750 applicants.
Yeah.
Wild.
So in essence, it's kind of like supply and demand. Where do you draw the line? It's
All right, so let's get to that next step. So we talked about economy in the next 12 months. Now let's talk about supply and demand. So the supply is very limited right now. So the demand is incredibly high. I'm going to speak for a second upon what I think, but supply and demand, how we see that chessing. I actually don't think we're going to see a foreclosure fallout. Like for anybody who wasn't around, 2007, 6, 7, 8, we were all in the market before. There was an incredible foreclosure fallout where mortgages went like out of control, and they were writing a bunch of bad loans. But the problem with that is most people don't know the story of that. If you don't know the story about that, go watch the movie The Big Short. It's a really good movie. They did a great job with that. But that problem was created 30 years before it came to roost. They started doing all these tricky things with loans that did not exist before, and they thought it was brilliant. I'm not saying it wasn't, because it obviously was brilliant enough to make the whole economy move that direction. But then it all fell apart pretty quickly, and no one saw it coming. The issue with that is, as soon as that happened, people started adjusting their watch, saying, oh, every 15 years it's going to F up. And so they started paying attention. So, like, if you're ever going to be on YouTube, type in economy, real estate, where is it going? You're going to hear this thing of like, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. I've been hearing that for 6 years now. It's about to happen. Like even Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki, dude, it's happening. It's happening.
Buy gold.
You better buy gold. Buy this board game. Learn this thing now. You better put all your money in cash. Do not spend it. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's like a broken clock is right twice a day. It doesn't mean it's bad information, but it's all timing. So here's my thing. All the banks are young enough now to remember 2007. They all felt it. When Washington Mutual got spanked, they lost the entire company. When Countrywide, one of the biggest lending institutions we've ever seen in the United States, they got scooped up because they lost their insurance rating. They could no longer write loans. They had to liquidate to somebody else. And so Argent Bank, Wilshire Bank, all the big banks, when we were around, I wasn't lending then. They all got, but you notice, those are not the conversation we're having right now. There's no bad loans being written like they were before. There is self-employed loans, but frankly, those are
Everybody put down 30, 20%.
yeah. Those are
Bank statement loans, same thing.
those are pretty cautious by all industry standards. The loans back then were no income, no doc, no doc, no credit score, no name,
no proof of being alive.
just show up with a duffel bag and money and we'll give you the house.
Yep.
And so that went away. So the point is, I don't think that's going to happen. And by the way, when that happened, it became an entire flux of what they called forbearances and modifications. So basically they take this loan they wrote and said, hey, you have $1 million loan you haven't paid on for 6 months. Tell you what, we're just going to rewrite your loan and give it back to you at a lower interest rate, and we're going to push it out another 10 years. So we'll make our money in the long term. We're adjusting our value, so we'll get paid back when you sell, knowing that it's only going to take us about 5 years to get through this process. You're going to sell it and we'll get our money back. And so they did these things called forbearances, modifications, etc. And so instead of foreclosing on people, they started doing this. Well, they started doing that after they foreclosed on a bunch of people. So I don't think they're going to do any of that or much of any of it this time around. What they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, we saw this from before. And they're going to say, everyone who needs to apply. And they're going to start sending out notices right away saying, we noticed you missed a couple payments. Do you need to talk about modifying your loan? And they're going to start kicking that thing into high gear way before it ever hits the insurance company. And they're going to not even touch that stuff. There will be some foreclosures for specific reasons. But I personally think, without really any information, minor amount of the marketplace. What I do think, which I've told a lot of people about, the major amount of marketplace is going to be baby boomers selling out on their trusts, people passing away in the family and those having to be rebalanced and sold throughout the family, and divorces and bankruptcies. Bankruptcies for sure, because businesses are going to get pretty beat up. Yep, they're getting smaller. And divorces are going to be the number one source of business in the next couple of years. As soon as COVID hit, I heard so many stories from people about from divorce attorneys. This is the first time I've had to be at home with my spouse in the last 5 years, and they're filing for divorce 5 days later. Like, they have had the incredible opportunity to work in opposite schedules, deal with the kids in opposite schedules, and never had to occupy the same 2,000 square feet for 6 years. And now COVID says you're all working from home, and they're like, Nope.
Now we got to talk
Now,
to my
we're-
wife.
now I have to talk to her and I have to deal with her. No. So the thing is that where the inventory is going to come from is going to be a flux of how quickly the courts can get through that stuff.
Yep.
And it's going to take some time, but once it does, the wheels are going to start moving. And what's going to happen is as the wheels start moving and properties hit the market, it's going to slowly start stabilizing the prices and dropping them because there's going to be enough inventory to support the demand and then more than you need. That's going to drop the
You
price.
really think there's going to be that much inventory that comes on the market?
Red, how many divorces does your one friend's office have?
No, those are probates.
Whatever.
4,300.
4,300 in one person.
Let's see, Orange County, or is it
It's Orange County, LA County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County.
4,300.
Yeah.
One, how many people?
4,300. It's a firm.
No,
it's
how
a
many-
law firm.
Law firm.
Yeah.
One firm. 4,300 probate
Probates.
cases in real estate.
Well, those take a long time to process.
No, those
right?
are the ones that they've been working on those cases, and those are the ones that he says, all right, these are in the pipe. Start getting ready. Like start
One
positioning yourself.
firm.
And there's like two. So I've talked to him in regards to like these portfolios. Like just one portfolio has 45 assets in it.
Yeah, that's
So-
43 cases, not properties.
4,300.
One person could have 5 properties. The other could have 1.
Yep.
Assume some have between an average of 2
3.
to 10.
Yeah.
So these all have to sell.
They have to sell because they're in probate.
Yeah. So they either have to figure out a solution in regards to refinancing and cashing out all the fees for the probate process,
Buying out a partner.
buying out partner, buying out families, family woodwork.
In
coming
your
out.
experience, how many siblings can buy out their parents and brothers and sisters? Almost none.
Almost
They
none,
all
yeah.
want. That's right.
Yeah.
One person, 45 properties, and there's 4,300 cases. Assume the average is 1, but assume 10 to 20% of them have multiple properties.
Yep.
That means there's about 43. That's 6,000 to 7,000 properties in one firm
Yep. And that's just one firm.
in 3 counties. Does that not scare you?
There's a lot. I mean,
That's a
maybe-
lot of inventory.
So
And then
all these probates are coming around right now.
they're
because of-
coming up because they're
Okay.
backed up because of COVID.
So
Nice.
in essence, I have
Go ahead.
5 listings coming up right now. Out of those 5 listings, 2 are probate, one's a commercial deal, and then the other 2 are people that are actually downsizing and moving out of state. So in that sense of the matter, that's like what 20% of my transactions are probate. How many of the properties that you just showed were probate listings,
20%.
trust listings,
2 of
living
8.
trusts?
2 of 8.
Yeah. So there's a big amount of properties on the market
Okay.
right now, and it's growing by the time.
But also think about baby boomers. Baby boomers are either retiring, downsizing, or dying.
Yeah. And
So
a
that
lot
means
of them
all those are going to
sell.
probate.
So the house
Yeah.
I'm about to list in Santa Ana, in that same neighborhood, right? Just in that same neighborhood. I'm not even going like a mile out. I'm just going like 5 blocks out. In that same neighborhood, 4 other listings have gone up. All of them have been either trust, probate, trust.
I feel like those are the ones that have to sell right
Yeah.
now.
Exactly the point, though.
Yeah.
They have to sell, which means there's no choice. They're going to find their way to the inventory of the market, which means if they all start showing up, even though they won't start all right away, in the next 12, 24, 36 months,
Jeez.
they're going to slowly soften the demand.
Yep.
But here's the other part.
There's a lot of demand though. I mean,
There is 30
offers on a house.
I
That's
said
29 people that don't get a house.
slowly soften
Yeah.
demand. Which when they do that, there also won't be like the most upgraded properties. So a lot of the property out there is going to be in need of work, most likely.
Right.
So, anyways, my point to that is I think in the next, I can't say 12 months, I cheated, 12, 30, 12, 4, 24, 36. It depends on how quickly the courts get through it. But because of COVID, they were shut down for almost 17 months. So they couldn't even file these. So they were backed up from the moment they started. They said, dude, we're 6 months behind and we haven't even opened court yet.
We're forgetting one big thing.
What?
Today was August 1st was the date that everybody in LA County that was behind on their actual COVID rent had to catch it up. If not, eviction starts.
We'll see.
So here's the thing though. A lot of those properties are in default.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of those landlords that cannot
Oh,
afford the
I
rents.
got a third one. Airbnb.
Oh yeah, that's another one. That's getting
Airbnb.
hit.
Yep. Sorry. If y'all don't know this, Airbnb regulations. Most local cities, economies, and counties have picked up on the idea they're losing tax revenue from hospitality by allowing people to rent out their own properties to other people. So instead of allowing them to do that, they've said, we're no longer allowing you to rent your property out to other people for anything shorter than 30 days.
Yep.
30 days or more is the minimum for which you may rent out your property to somebody else because we collect no tax revenue for short-term rentals.
Where is
We're
this? And
lot of places.
Lots of
Costa Mesa illegal, Irvine illegal, Anaheim illegal. Yep,
Yeah.
Anaheim was one of the first ones because people thought it was brilliant. I'm going to buy houses right around Disneyland, and then Disney's like, oh no, I'm so
wait,
sorry,
wait.
no. You're taking away from downtown Disney. We will not have this.
Yeah.
And so, but anyways, I've had a lot of clients selling those.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, well, dude, we're not going to make a revenue. Just get rid of it. I sold one in Costa Mesa. Brea. Yeah, that one too. Brea. I sold two in the last 2 months. Yeah, no, 2.5 months. 3 months. Yeah, two in the last 3 months of people who said, well, that's it. Bye-bye. And they sold the property because they got no more money out of it. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of...
I agree with that 100%. I mean, Orange County, the regulations are all over the place. And for Airbnb and short-term rentals, I mean, you have to...
Palm Springs.
You have to move into markets that already have the regulations in
But
place.
Palm Springs had it, but then they like start chopping it up.
That's how they started. I think is they had communities and they gave a certain percentage of that particular community or neighborhood a certain number of rent permits, and once you used them all up, then
But you also paid a short-term rental tax.
Yeah.
On top of
yeah,
it.
I mean, you are paying the TOT tax, so the counties
Yeah.
and the cities are getting money. So, I mean, in Big Bear, off the management company that we have over there has 40 rentals. 11% off the top goes to the city.
Oh,
I mean, they're making money.
Well, at least they figured it out because
Yeah.
most people just
But Big
say
Bear is always
none at all. We don't want it. Yeah.
Big
But anyways,
Bear,
but people
Miami.
but that inventory is going to show up in the marketplace
Yes.
because most people are not going to take the time. Like it was such a boom of like you could make a bunch of money right away, and
And they did.
They did.
I mean,
They did. They made a
COVID,
fortune. They made a
2021,
fortune of money.
yeah.
Yep. I mean, so but now it's not as easy as it was, and you got to work for it, and you got to do all the stuff, and no one really wants to do that. So that inventory is going to come due as well. And most very large metropolitan areas where you're competing with, Ritz-Carlton, Holiday Inn, Hilton, those kind of places are like, why are we competing with the neighbors? No, we're not doing that. You want our tax revenue? You kill these things right now, otherwise we're out of here, which is true. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. Okay, so how are you? So next question. Sorry. How are you changing your focus with your business and also your clients moving forward? Tom.
How are we changing our business?
Yeah. How are you changing your focus with your business clients moving forward?
Yeah. So my commercial clients, we usually most of the clients that we acquire, or we talk to mostly mom and pop owners for commercial real estate buildings. We're always usually reaching out to them, cold calling. We have lists of all the commercial properties in Orange County. We contact them directly and then kind of test the waters and see, is this something they want to sell? Would they be open to a cash offer? Would they be open to kind of a listing and going that process? We explore both options with them, and some are interested, then we take further steps. So that's never changed.
Will it change moving forward?
No. I mean, it's always worked for us. We're generating at least 3 to 5 leads a day of people that we're talking to. So it's always. I don't feel that's going to change. The conversation changes. Some people are more motivated, at a higher number, and then you have to kind of change the conversation. That was a price, 6 months to a year ago. You're not going to get that price. What's important to you? What's important to you? Is the money important? What's the money going towards? Do you need revenue? Moving in the next 5-10 years of your life. Do you need a 1031 exchange into something else where you can, have another type of asset that's producing tax advantages for you? What's diving
all I
deeper
heard you
into
say
that.
is, oh, no. No. That was 6 months ago, my friend. What's important to you now? Yeah. Do you want me to give you a hug? Is a handshake important to you? I'm so. Oh, that was good. I appreciate that. That was
I
fun.
give him a big hug. Yeah.
That was so delightful. Thank you, sir.
Sometimes that's enough. My hugs are pretty good, but
Hug is pretty good.
Yeah.
everybody's different. But yeah, I mean, we're
So not changing
We're
anything.
actually gonna have a class on this next month that Mark and I set up. Is 3 different types of options for these people. One is
One is you take the hug. Two
the
is you
handshake.
come over and we kick you swift in the nuts. 3 is I give you a check undisclosed and you just say yes.
all great options. I like all 3 from you, sir.
That's how I run my business.
1031 exchange. Everybody knows what that is. DST, the Delaware Statutory Trust, are basically moving into a syndication of a real estate investment, getting a 6 to 8% return on your on the investment, and then getting a 20% cash on cash return 5 to 10 years down the line. And then third option is an IST, installment sales trust, which is kind of a arm's length transaction where the money goes into a trust and it can be invested in stocks and things like that. So anyways, the point is that you can have options where you avoid the tax kind of consequence.
Okay.
And I'll throw in the hug for free. No problem.
I kind of feel like the hug should cost something. I mean, I've seen you hug. It's long.
What kind of hug?
I've seen you hug, and you go a little deeper than I think you should. All right.
Oh boy.
Red, same question. How are you changing your focus with your business, clients, etc.?
I'm changing a lot in my business. I'm tripling down on all my sphere of influence, people that I know, arm's length transaction with them, being a very strong, reliable resource in reaching out and having a stronger, just better customer experience. Being an asset and a resource for them. Because I think right now, I mirror it back to the foreclosure market where the conversation is happening a lot. People are talking about real estate. They want to know what's going on, what's going to happen. Is it going to crash? Is it not going to crash? Should I buy? Should I not buy? They want someone to lean on that's a reliable and trustworthy resource for them to get the right answers.
Yep.
So for me, it's just more, I'm stepping back in regards to just cold calling and all those other things. I'm still doing it, not as much or as heavy as, because I feel that I'm getting a better traction just with the people that I already know, trust, and love me, to be able to just be a resource for them, and then obviously communicate with their friends and family, because every family party I've gone to has legitimately been a conversation about real estate.
It's inevitable.
Like, it's insane. So for me, those things are changing, staying ahead of the market, obviously providing those resources that Tom just talked about, because there's a lot of people that are savvy enough to have a living trust. Those assets are coming into their hands because their family is passing on. What do I do with them? Do I want to be a landlord? Do I not want to be a landlord? What options do I have? Should I sell them? Should I not sell them? If you don't have any resources for them, you're pretty much losing your real estate license.
Yeah.
It's not. I think right now we're going to start seeing people that really don't have a business plan or any kind of good customer service or connections in the market, and they're falling off. So if they're not aligned with a good brokerage, if they're not aligned with people that are actually staying ahead of what's going to happen, they're going to be pretty much obsolete. Doesn't matter how much marketing they do. Doesn't matter how much social media they do. Doesn't matter how many cool little TikTok videos they do. They're going to be obsolete.
How many podcasts they do?
How many podcasts they do.
We're only doing one.
But that's to answer your question, that's what I'm doing. I'm becoming more of a reliable resource, tripling down on my customer service with my clients, reaching out, touching base into what are some of your concerns. Let me be that person that you lean on in order to get those questions answered from the conversations you're having at work, on the road, driving, seeing social media, seeing all these gurus that are saying the market's going to crash. Don't buy right now. Buy everything cash. All those crazy things, right?
Yeah, I get
it. Going back to the basics. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100% going back to the basics, which I believe a lot of agents don't even know what the basic is.
Yeah, very true.
Well, they know the basics of what happened for the last, maybe 7 years, like post 2008, early 2020.
Yeah.
That's basics for them, which is basically you show up, drink coffee, look cool, and like somebody will sell something.
Yeah.
So, okay, good, dude. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question.
Brian?
I'm going to answer it. So, how are you changing your focus with business? So, I'll be totally incredibly honest. My focus almost never changes. My focus is consistently, constantly. Red touched on it, but I just honestly I don't do it. How do I say this? My focus changed about 5 years ago. My focus changed from I was in a very high sales mentality, luxury real estate company, and it was fine. I'm not saying bad things about it, but the momentum of that stuff is very consistent. If you watch any show that you've watched, it's very much like slinging deals, all kinds of stuff. And so I had a really good meeting with a client of mine who was a really big construction guy, and I could tell you the things he did, and you know him, and it's amazing stuff. And what he talked about is you have to figure out what makes what the consumer wants so much that they're willing to pay more for it, but also what makes you so different that you can give it to them in spades. And so I started changing my entire focus to customer service as opposed to sales. And so I don't look at this business as sales at all. I really don't. I look at it as customer service. And so when I think about everything I do, I think about the guy at like Best Buy, and he walks up to you and says, tell me everything you want to know about this TV, and I'll gladly teach you everything you have. And by the end of that entire time, you may have all the information. By the way, you may walk out, but you're like, you may just buy it because you have everything you need and no one asked you to do anything. No one asked anything of you. Like if you go to Home Depot, this was their customer service model. If they see you there's a arm's length rule at some of these places. And they say, if you're an arm's length, you have to go and connect and say hi. And you have to ask them what they're looking for. And you have to actually walk them and take them there. And there are people inside of those environments where they don't do it and it stands out. And then there's people who do it and they're like, they walk them there. And it's like, it's very appreciated. So my focus for my actual inner stuff, what I do with people, is always customer service. When it comes to the agents that work here at our company, I am completely all in on making sure they have everything they need, information-wise, understanding-wise. Let's make sure you got what you need to go. Because in our company, our agents are our clients as much as our clients are our clients. So this is a company built by agents for agents. So we have agents, and so we are working with them, and then we have clients who are working with them because we'll have independent teams and businesses of our own. So that part of my business hasn't changed. What has changed about my business is my focus of where the volume is so that I can attack the basis of where things are coming from. So as I've stated earlier, divorces are going to be a big deal. Pro-tate are going to be a big deal. Bankruptcies are going to be a big deal. Reinvestment is going to be a big deal. So Tom will talk about this, but 1031 exchanges, moving money around to buy one asset versus another asset, that's going to be something. And then the better part of that is really sound advice for making future decisions. So first-time home buyers, very important to tell them what they should really understand about what's coming next. Here's where we're in the marketplace. Let's pay attention to that. If you're a first-time home buyer, this is one choice. This is another choice. Let's make sure you're okay for the next 5 to 10 years if you're going to make choice A. If you're not, let's think about making choice B, because we're not exactly sure how all this stuff is going to play out. So a lot of my stuff has changed from the fact that when the market was moving one direction, it was very easy. You just move that way. But now that it's kind of like, well, where is it going? You got to kind of be a little bit better at juggling how people are coming in so you can better advise them on where we should go. Because I've got 10, 20 cash investors saying, Brian, please tell me when I can cut a check. And I'm not being weird when I say it. I'm like, I had the conversation 2 days ago. I'm waiting for you to tell me when it's okay to start buying. I said, I promise I will tell you. I will not tell you until it's time. And so, but we all have that. We've got people like, dude, just tell me when I can start doing this, dude. I'm ready to. I'm literally ready to start making money in this business. And so we know that. And so I've got like 7 or 8 different pockets of people that I have to make sure I'm giving them the advice they need to be successful with their part of it. So that's how my business has changed. I'm a bit more cautious in how I describe things, how I discuss things, because I want to make sure that the people I'm talking to are getting the best of what I have to offer for that group. Whereas, in 2007, none of us thought this thing was coming down. And so I'm much more cautious in how I give advice. So that's how I do it.
That's interesting because we're all kind of consultants. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
I think
that's how I look at it. As I'm a customer service representative, I make nothing. You pay me from the advice I give you. And I only get paid if you get what you want. That's kind of how I view it. So, okay. What impact will the Federal Reserve increasing rates have on your business, Tom? Well, any?
I mean,
It doesn't touch you at all.
of course it touches us.
Midas touch, nothing.
Midas touch. I won't go there.
Does it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we've seen it go from 3% to 7.5%, and things are still.
Well, yeah, you kind of talked about it with the office people, but that means more business for you to sell, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just obviously depends on who's buying what type of asset.
No, but the people you said that would reset, would that mean there's more inventory for you to hopefully try and acquire?
I don't feel like there's going to be that much. I mean, again, if we're looking at Orange County, I just don't feel like that much inventory is going to be coming on, and especially commercial real estate. You just don't see that much
Even
inventory.
office?
I mean, office is going to be a whole different animal. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's really going to depend on those things we talked about.
You don't want office.
The zoning and that kind of stuff. If somebody can buy that big office building we used to be in Bristol and
But they bought that. That was bought just
Like
before COVID. Canvas, yeah, they bought that.
yeah.
Before-
I'm sure they're not happy about it. Yeah.
I'm sure they're not, but no one can account for COVID.
No.
but yeah, I mean that's a very large investment company, and
Yeah,
If it wasn't
huge.
for 511 Tactical that went in there, they would have a bunch of a vacancy.
they're
A bunch.
Stupid.
they're not going to do well. But for example, let's look at like the small owner operator who uses an SBA loan, which is a small business loan that basically can put them down 10%, 20% on a small building that they're going to use themselves.
Like the guys in the park here. Well, because Orange Theory is at the end there. There's a contractor right there. There's like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah,
right
like these guys. I mean, obviously these guys are renting, but yeah, I mean, somebody went in and bought one of these buildings. For example, if we bought this building, let's say it was $2 million bucks. Yeah, and we put down 10%, and yeah, that sounds about right. So we'd only have to put down $200,000, but we'd be financing $1.8 million at 7.5% interest. Obviously, that probably. The small business loan, the federal loan would be looking at our income to see if that we would be able to obviously support that, and that wouldn't be there. So it won't even happen. So I guess my point with that is it's a lot tougher for those loans.
Okay. So on the residential side, commercial too if you want to do it.
Yeah.
How does the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates have an effect on your business?
It has a positive effect in my business. I'm having better conversations with savvier buyers.
Okay, that's good.
It's increasingly amazing to me. Obviously, doing the open houses, seeing the type of buyers that are coming in, they're no longer looky-loos. Like, they know what they want. They understand. It's not even a
because
conversation.
Because they have to.
Yeah. It's not even a conversation of like, oh, what about the interest rate? Like, you could differentiate a first-time home buyer in this market from a person that knows what they're going to be parking their money in, the asset class, what they want to do, whether it's either relocating a family member closer to them. Buyers that are on the market right now are serious buyers, and they're going to make a very serious move. With that, I think they're obviously going to be doing better questions, better understanding of the economy, better conversations, and it's easier to align with these people. So a lot more business to grab, in my personal opinion.
All right, good. Okay.
That's good news.
Yeah, that's good news. Shit. So no negative effects. Okay, so let's see. Last.
I'm
sorry.
Effects. Raise the interest
No effects.
15%.
Keep them going. So all right. So I'll answer the question. Yeah, it's tough. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm inclined to agree with you because it's forced. It's kind of made this forced seriousness.
Yeah.
Which I hate to say that because it sounds kind of dickish, right? Because you want people to save money, which I absolutely do, but it's forced the situation where you've created some predictability to this. Like, the question I get asked is what's going on, and it's like, well, why aren't people selling? It's because they're in 3% interest rates, though they really can't sell, and so you get some really clear direction on what that looks like, and then so if they say, well, then what's happening? It's like, well, you got 3% interest rates, so there's no one selling. When they've got 3%, they've got nowhere to go. Rents are going up, and so there's no reason to buy versus rent unless you're in this position. Mm-hmm. So it kind of made it kind of clear. I mean, I would like them to go down, but I kind of want them to go down. Well, but I don't want them to go down because I just want them to go down. I want them to go down because we've got spending in line. I would like deflation to start kicking in, quite frankly. I would like costs to go down on all products because that would mean it's okay and safe to bring the interest rates down. I don't want them to just go down for my benefit. Like, I would like costs for living for everybody to go down, because I had a question from a client who makes really good money, and they're like, dude, how are people doing this? And they're buying too, and their payment's going to be, they're struggling to get into $6,000 a month with 20% down. They're like, dude, we were trying to get to $6,000 a month, and they're struggling to get there. Like, dude, how do people do this? I said, to be honest with you, because they have to, because they have no choice. Either they do that or they rent for $5,000 a month.
Well, the conversation you guys are having with them, I mean, I imagine for kind of residential buyers is like, hey, get in here. You have, I mean, I guess less competition than if the interest rates were lower, and then refinance in a year or two. Is that what you guys are kind of telling them?
So if I'm being honest with you, the conversations that I'm having now, no. And I don't say that because I don't like to guarantee things I can't guarantee.
Sure.
So, but what I do talk to them about is, so if I have clients looking at new construction, I'm not saying I talk them out of it, but what did happen to a handful of my clients in 2007 is that they were buying new construction, and then the builder decided they wanted to be done with inventory, and they dropped the price 30% overnight and dropped them and got rid of all of them. And they were really upset because when they went to the builder's office, they sold them on a particular concept, and then it turns out they're like, what happened? And I was like, you're in competition with the builder on their own inventory, you're going to lose. And so, no, I can't tell them interest rates are going to drop because I have no clue. But what I do tell them is that the best thing we can hope for is if I could give you my personal preference, it's let's find something that we can get into, and I can help you consult on modifications to increase liquidity in the property. Because that I can do because we have a design firm, we've done renovations, and so I can say, look, if we get this property here, here's the stuff we can do to increase the property here, refinance and cash out the difference. Now I've got you washed and I've got you positioned for the next thing we're going to do.
Value add.
Right.
Value
But
add
if I,
always,
but
that's the rule I always have for myself too. I mean, I would love that every single home buyer, investment buyer always has a value add component to whatever they're buying.
right. So
I would always push that.
100%.
That's interesting that you push
Well,
it.
because the thing is that I want to make sure that they're protected. So all my clients I had in '07, some didn't do so well. And, I'll be honest with you, my brother and I, we had a property in Florida because we, like everybody else, thought the market was like made of unicorn hair and everything was like perfect and spitted glitter. And it would sneeze glitter and everything was amazing. And we had to do BK on something in Florida when we had no clue what we were doing. We were so young and we followed the trend like everybody else. And so this time around, when I talk to people, I'm like, let's make sure we're understanding this stuff. The best thing I can do is position an equity difference so that when we have any drop at all, we're at least par on anything. If that even happens, if not, then we refinance and all the cash is in our pocket and we adjusted the difference. So that's been the most of the advice that I've given as of now. Okay, so one more question. The cycle we're in right now, most people talk about as being a 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, 45-year cycle.
45 years.
I mean, shit, who knows? But at what point do you see this cycle of this value change being over? We're in a buyer's market right now. I've been in a buyer's market for 15-ish years.
Sellers.
Sorry, that's what I mean. Seller's market. Seller's market, 15-ish years. At what point do you see it cycling back and becoming a buyer's market again, or is that a foregone conclusion? There's no more buyer's markets ever.
I mean, what we haven't talked about yet is real estate is a commodity. It's a type
I said buyer's market.
For you, it's a buyer's market.
Well, I hope it is. Yeah, go ahead.
What we haven't talked about is very large investment firms, BlackRock and things like that, buying single family houses. Basically taking inventory off the market.
By the way, that sucks.
I mean, yeah, it sucks if you're a first-time home buyer and you're competing with BlackRock.
Well, just anybody. Like BlackRock's a giant fund. Like they're just going to scoop up all houses.
They have it's a $10 trillion fund. $10 trillion fund. Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's nuts.
I hate it.
So I mean, obviously in Cali, they don't want to buy houses, single-family houses in California, at least here in Orange County. So we don't have to worry about that. I mean, it doesn't from an investment perspective. I don't think it makes sense for them. Yeah. But Texas, Florida, anywhere in between us and Florida.
But they're focusing in on big buildings, though. I mean, they're focusing on
apartment complexes. They focus on everything.
Yeah, they focus on everything.
If it's real estate, they'll buy it. But yeah, I mean, that's I feel that's changing the landscape of the real estate market. 100%. I feel that's taking out inventory and consistently.
It's commercializing residency.
Yeah. It's basically making us a renter kind of
mindset. It's terrible.
Yeah. People are going to be unable to buy a house. They're going to be forced to rent. And that's just going to be the new nature of
the whole point of people coming to the U.S. is the American dream of being able to establish a life for yourself. This thing is, I honestly think it sucks. I really do. I think it's really bad that, not that it's illegal. It is what it is, but people should be able to give them the opportunity to be able to own their stuff, own their business. I think it's tough.
All the more reason to buy now. Lock in interest rate for 30% and own something before BlackRock.
Not stupid. Yeah, I mean, if they decide to partner with Zillow or somebody else and said, "Oh, we're just going to create this," they could buy another 80% of the market. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's going to be the reset of the new presidency when we're going to see a major
change. That'll be interesting. So I don't want to get too political in the first episode, but
well, no, that's the only thing I can see. That's the only thing I can see changing the demographic, the land field of our U.S. economy. Are we going to have a Republican president? Are we going to have another run with this Democratic president?
Interesting.
If so, if we have another run with this Democratic president, are we going to start seeing even worse economics forecasts? Would the change come in with the Republican president? Would it cause a huge ripple effect where it starts exposing a lot of things that shouldn't have happened? I mean, I think this presidency is going to cause just a major change in our scope of how we actually do business.
Yeah.
It could be a great turn of events. It could be a horrible turn of events. Either way, I'm still trying to buy houses. I'm trying to get my hands on any asset I can, reposition it in the market.
Not only for this limited inventory reason, but when we even talked about obviously inflation, I hope deflation happens, but it's not slowing down anytime soon. I think the numbers aren't exactly.
Well, they're trying to say it's like, we hit the soft landing.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, so you're saying that's not accurate?
I mean,
we haven't hit a soft landing?
No, they're predicting a soft landing.
Oh,
they're predicting that it's working out.
Me too.
I don't want to be in that plane when it lands.
Hell no.
I'm predicting a soft.
My point, the inflation is going to happen regardless, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Right? A cup of coffee is always going to continue to go up. Cost of goods are always going to continue to go up. Rent is always going to continue to go up.
It's going up significantly.
If you lock in a 30-year mortgage, even if it's at a 7.5% interest rate right now, that's going to be set for 30 years.
Yeah.
I guarantee you in 30 years,
you're hedging the market.
Your rent that you're looking at for your house versus that mortgage is going to be more.
And honestly, right now, I mean, it's a conversation I had the other day with a client is that rents have been just fucking tailing mortgages for the last 2 years.
Right.
Oh God. Rents are like for a 3-bedroom, it's like $5,000 for like donkey houses. Yeah,
Santa Ana, bro.
Crazy. Well, I'm just saying, but the mortgage on that property is $6,000. It's like you're right behind it.
Yeah, we got one in Henninger Park with my investor, 1,097 square feet, $4,550 a month.
Yeah, and so what that keeps doing, it keeps juggling homeowner against investor and homeowner against investor, because if I buy it, then I rent it out, it's worth $7,000. I paid $6,000. It's like just go. It's actually
they just signed the mortgage. They gotta pay for that mortgage with that high interest rate. So
that's wild.
No, I mean, truthfully, so I just think there is going to be a pivot point. I'd rather be in the position of owning the asset and being able to sustain the higher payment right now, where when the market does sustainably, obviously, either change down, I'd rather be in the position with the equitable growth and be able to refinance and lower my payment than trying to compete with all these people that are right now. I hope everybody's waiting. Obviously in the sidelines waiting, or whatever they're doing, they're saving money.
Yeah.
One way or another. It doesn't matter how much the economy is doing. To me, I've always talked about it in this perspective. I cannot control what the world is doing. The only thing I can control is what I'm doing with the money I'm making.
Right.
So my economy is that. If I can control my cost of living, if I can control my expenses, and I don't have to leverage out and have debt or have anything that can obviously catastrophically collapse me at any given point without making any risky investments or stuff of that nature, I'm ahead of the market already as it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what kind of a market I'm competing in, I'm already ahead.
Well, and some of the biggest guys say the best way to influence your income is influence your
cost
expenses.
Yeah, your cost of living. So I'm okay with buying right now. I'm okay with grabbing something, either downsizing and being comfortable, but having the assets, and then being able to reposition it when the market does what it's going to do.
Yep.
Once the interest rates do come down to what is still a great interest rate at 5%, you're going to be in a better position.
True.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that's why I'm seeing a lot of savvy buyers in the market right now. They know that they're going to have the opportunity. They're not overextending themselves. We don't have crazy radical lending opportunities out there where these people are actually going out there and getting a loan, and their DTIs are 65.
I will say this: the thing that everyone's afraid of, which by the way is not an unreal fear, it's not stupid, but the thing is never foreseeable. Like you can't see the thing that sinks your boat. Like it's and so in 2007 it was like this. They call it the mortgage meltdown, which is a very fun thing to say. Like the loans they were writing were just really bad loans. But there's already been some investments that banks have made that should have tumbled those banks, but they didn't let them happen. That doesn't mean they have enough money to sustain every major bank.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that could happen that could come, that could sink the market. We just don't know what they are. And so you've got to hedge your bets against what you can see, and then try and do your best to predict, like, okay, what is going on that I can't see right now, so that I can at least hedge against it. Like if our bank is investing in risky CDs and there's no more money in the bank, well, maybe we should move our money to another bank. Like maybe we should do that. So trying to understand exactly where everybody's at with their finances is the biggest thing, is being able to give that advice, but also trying to be able to predict where things are coming from. you can hedge against it, but you just can't guarantee it. So you've got to be able to at least give yourself the best estimate of like, here's what I think will happen, and then hedge against the, like you said, the interest rate. So like I'd rather lock in at 6% than try and figure out if I don't think like 7, 8, 9, 10% or lose at 5%. Yeah, it's like I'd rather at least lock it in at this amount and then just write it if I can sustain the payment.
I mean,
so
sorry to,
yeah, you're good, dude.
But yeah, I mean, when I'm from a real estate agent perspective, as a real estate professional, on my taxes, I'm not looking at, even if I'm cutting even on a property, I'm looking at all the tax benefits I'm getting. I'm looking at the future potential of the property, what I can value add, like we talked about.
Yeah.
There's all these additional things that
buy down from the renters on the loan.
There's all these additional things than just like these two numbers that I kind of look at in investment. So I mean, you have to see the big picture.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you buy a 6,000 pound car, you're like, well, it costs 30 grand. It's like, yeah, but you get a 80% deduction against taxes the moment you buy it.
Right.
Or stuff like that. Okay.
Those are the conversations that you got to be having with your clients to educate them on the financial side of it, right?
Right.
But in essence, for like, just to even focus in a little bit more on that question, if you fear that the economy or even the buying power is very minimal right now, and you have a very high amount of competition, imagine what it's going to look like when the interest rates are at 5%.
Sure.
Imagine what it's going to look like when the interest rates are at 4%. If we ever go back down to 4%.
Right.
I'm okay with not going back down to 4%. And that's a conversation that a lot of people are not comfortable having because they have no value to provide to their clients.
Right.
They're just so subjective of putting a sell together because of all the things that they cannot control. But again, it gives them an opportunity to put a deal together. Right now, deals that are happening are from agents that actually understand what the market is doing.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
And it's people that have always been working out in the market, that have had a business structure, that have had a business plan, that don't land on a deal just because they have a real estate license, in essence. But to me, it's just more, I like this market. I like the competitiveness of this market, the ability to actually have just profound conversations with sellers to analyze, why are you selling? Where are you going?
Yeah.
What position are you going to put yourself in if you transition from point A to point B, so on and so forth. I mean, most of these buyers that are out there, they have the financial capacity to actually buy cash, or they have the financial capabilities to put 60% down. I mean, it was funny because you said that number, and we were actually analyzing a property, an investment opportunity for a client of mine, and in order for it to cash flow, I think it was like $600. He had to go almost like 65% down.
That's terrible.
And again, it's like, I feel that that's an opportunity for him because, yes, you're going to be cash flowing that amount. Where are you going to be at when the position of the market changes and you're able to refinance out? How much equity are you going to grow? How much demand is there going to be in that property? How much of your mortgage are you going to be able to get paid down from all these renters that are there? Because they have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
They legitimately don't. I've experienced in eviction court, I've experienced the fact that judges are being straight cutthroat. It's like, if the tenants don't have a valid excuse, because COVID, I think, put them on the sidelines. COVID took away a lot of jobs from judges because they had no courts.
Yeah.
COVID could not actually do no evictions. They weren't getting paid. Judges weren't getting paid. Attorneys were not getting paid. Right now, it's like popping them like pills, dude.
Good.
You can't pay them, get the hell out of the property.
Wow,
you got 28 days.
That's new news to me. That's great though, because I don't think anybody should be deadbeat people.
Unfortunately, it's a sad reality and it's a sad truth. You can't fix what people put themselves in that position, but you can offer the opportunity to educate them and get them into a better position themselves. It's beating a dead horse sometimes, but in essence, I'm looking at the opportunity. As a realtor that hasn't provided just an analysis point of view to be able to pretty much look at these opportunities, put them up on the market, reposition them, cash out these investors, even try to buy them myself with great opportunities of seller carry back, just out of the box ideas that you provide because of all the knowledge that we've been able to create from being partners.
Yep.
Just being around people that are actively pursuing success in the industry, not just because they have a fucking license.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Goes back to being consultants.
100%.
As we wrap it up, you got anything else you want to add for the people as we get out of here?
Do I get a hug later after the podcast?
Your hugs cost way too much.
Cheers, though.
Anything you want to wrap it up? All right, y'all. Cheers. Cheers.
We're out.
All right, y'all. Welcome. This is the end of the first episode of Agents After Hours, where we talk about everything you should see about agents when they're off the clock, talking about the things that are important. We are 3 partners of a brokerage in Costa Mesa, California, trying to get everyone educated on what we do, how we do it, and what the best things you can do to be successful in the future. Once again, myself, Brian Fox, Tom Kadar, and Luis Anaya, and we will see you here next time on Agent After Hours.